Welcome everybody to another edition of the ESL India Premiership 2018 Summer Seasons Master League. I'm your host Vagish Godslayer Bhan. Unlike what you're reading on screen, I am not God 5. It's Godslayer. It's just that my production is way too lazy to correct font sizes. But moving on,
my name's correct. My name's absolutely correct over there.
yes, I was going to introduce you, man. Jeez. Well, that's Angela Gonzalez, who is our resident analyst for Clash Royale and Dota 2. Now, moving on, today's is ESL India Premiership and the entire season and all the 3 seasons. Guess what? They're sponsored by Omen by HP, HyperX and Intel, while the presentation honors are being meted out to Nodwin Gaming and ESL.
Yes.
Well, that's a call out to everybody who's come together to make ESL India Premiership a reality. Now, moving on to the first game at hand.
Yep.
Clash Royale today on this amazing, beautiful Sunday evening where Delhi does definitely make you feel like, hey, I would have been better off sitting at home. It's hot.
That's so true.
It's hot.
It's very hot. It's extremely hot.
My Kashmiri genes do not agree with this kind of weather. It is a crime. I think we should stand for reservation for better temperature more than jobs now. I think sooner or later that's going to be a problem.
And it's only May. I mean, it's only April. May has to still come, and then there's June.
Summer is coming.
Summer
is coming. Summer. I think yeah, Delhi's like the exact opposite of GOT. They're just crying out loud, whining like hogs. Winter is coming here. Like everybody's like, oh, summer is coming. Oh, we're gonna melt. But moving on to the first participant in this Clash Royale game, we have Arpan Christian. He has been our ex-winner, champion in Clash Royale multiple times, known personally by me as the Dab Boy. So before we head off into the introduction of Arpan Christian, all right.
I like that crown.
Yeah, like Angie and me were discussing a bit recently that how we like those Photoshop crowns.
Yeah.
But what made me cringe was the fact that I cannot bear seeing Arpan Christian in a jacket, dude. Even an intro video is making me sweat. It's that bad in Delhi. And plus the dust and the pollution doesn't make it any better.
I think we should also have a weather report segment every day before the ESL India.
I think we should do that, yeah. I think everybody should know. In fact, we should also get my cat here. He'll just sit and just stare. He'll be a good addition. People will actually believe that he's a plushie.
That is a fact. Now, talking about Arpan Krishnan in general, he is as of now sitting on top of the leaderboard. He's got 3 victories to himself and 9 points. So that is pretty interesting to see for him. I mean, he's the top player. Of course, he is the winner of the summer and fall. So lots of expected from this young man.
Yes.
And he's won against Mukul, who's also the winter finale winner. So he's already defeated the reigning champion once. And he's also won against PP Prashant from Bangalore.
PP.
And Saif Patel, who is from Bharuch. So he seems very, very confident coming into this game. And if he does win this game, he's going to be sitting with 12 points and still sitting on top of the leaderboard. And of course, I think making his way to the land finale. I think he's, one game away to making his way to the land finale.
Alrighty then. So let's quickly take a look at the opposition here. Jimit Bhatt. So, no offense to Jimit Bhatt. Me and Angie were merely remarking about the fact that my point was A, the bullet point A was that, why does this guy look like a young Javed Jafri? And Angie's like, no, he just looks like he's had a long day at school and now he has a crown of freedom. Wah! Wah! Angie Mata, aap dhanya ho, ma.
He doesn't look like he wants to wear that crown. I think we should next time take a picture with a real crown on the head.
Yeah, he's just like looking very it's like a contrasting photo. Look at this. Arpan is like so happy with the crown. Jimit's like I don't know why they put a crown on my head. I don't like it. But moving on, let's take a deeper look at these two players and get to know them better.
Yeah.
So not much of a difference in crowns when it comes to both of them. Minor is the favorite card for Arpan, whereas the Three Musketeers are the favorite card for Jimit.
Yes.
predominantly both of them have had experience in the ESL India
Yes,
Premiership before.
definitely. As of now, though, Jimit, he is a boy from Mumbai and he's doing not that great. He sits ninth on the leaderboard as of now. He's played 2 games in the ESL India Premiership, but he has lost both of them. Now, just to give him a few props, he lost against Mrin, who is our 2016 champion, and Prashant, who's just been on a roll of his own and trying out different decks. And Jimit has only played 2 games, so he's still got about another 5 games, if I'm not wrong, to play. So his chances of making it higher on the leaderboard are pretty high. It's not that he's going to be sitting at the spot on ninth. His favorite cards, like you mentioned, is the Three Musketeers, and as of I don't think he's played many games on live screen till now. So this will be his first time we'll be seeing how he plays live, because I really want to know what is the kind of deck he likes to play. What are his favorite cards other than the Three Musketeers?
All right, so let's quickly understand the bans first, coming in from both the players here. So Three Musketeers banned outrightly by Arpan Christian, which also happens to be Jimit's favorite card, whereas Jimit Bhatt has gone ahead and banned the Giant.
Very good ban coming in there from Jimit. I mean, Arpan has won all his 3 games based off the Giant.
Yeah.
So this would be where Arpan would have to be a little careful on what he's going to opt to go. He still has the Golem if he decides to play that. Arpan is pretty good on the Golem too. He likes to play the Dark Prince also, the normal Prince. He likes to play the Electro Wizard, the P.E.K.K.A. would be another choice that he could go with. He could also opt to go just for the mini P.E.K.K.A. to counter the Giant if Jimit plays it in the place of Arpan. So I'm looking to see if Arpan decides to go with that. But for now, Jimit getting that ban on his Three Musketeers is a little risky for him. He would have to opt for a complete different strategy and understand how Arpan plays in the first game to be able to make sure that he doesn't really take the third loss for himself in the ESL India Premiership.
Alrighty then, so let's quickly head off into the game and see what's in store for us. This amazing game between Arpan Christian and Jimit Bhatt, casted by none other than the man behind the screen, but then again with the voice, the ever mysterious, the ever super excel Manoj Gola.
Hey guys, and Vagish, thank you for that intro. This is Manoj Super Gola casting for you. Today's Clash Royale game between our multi-time champion Arpan and of course one of his close friends Jimit, who's been with us in the Masters League for quite a while. I guess all 3 years that we've been running the Clash Royale tournament, both the players have been with us for a long time. And like Angie has said, it's good for Jimit that banned his Giant card so that he won't be able to use his double knight pushes that have been so deadly in the past few days. Arpan has won most of his games thanks to these 2 huge hulking knights pushing the ever hulking Giant forward onto his enemy's towers. But having said that, we're almost a minute into the game and Arpan has made bold moves. Now he has a P.E.K.K.A. in his deck. A P.E.K.K.A. is a sort of a replacement for a Giant, except for the fact that P.E.K.K.A. starts going after whatever is closest to him instead of just straight for buildings. But so far, it looks like it has worked out in his favor. Arpan has managed to bring down Jimit's tower to almost 1200 HP. Decent defense by Arpan right there. Uses Zap to destroy, almost destroy the minion horde. Oh, but look over here on the left. Jimit's Dark Prince actually managed to reach the tower, and thanks to the 3 ranged goblins behind him, or spear goblins rather, has managed to completely shut down the tower from full HP to 0. And now he's trying to do the same thing over here on the right. It looks like he might actually be successful. So although Arpan has made the first push into Jimit's territory and has brought Jimit's towers down, Jimit has actually managed to expertly move around whatever Arpan has thrown at him and bring the tower down completely. So now we see the first P.E.K.K.A. coming out of Arpan. Maybe he's planning to start a huge push behind this P.E.K.K.A., but first he has to worry about this push over here on the left. Jimit's Dark Prince has been stopped by Arpan's own Dark Prince, and thanks to a couple of shots from one of the archers, he has managed to completely stop Jimit in his tracks. But then again, his own push on the right has suffered a similar fate. Maybe something would change thanks to this new Dark Prince coming in. And the miner, of course. All Arpan has to do right now is bring the tower down to 240 HP and then poison it, which is almost exactly what he's done as I say it. But unfortunately for him, even if he brings down the tower, which is sitting at 38 HP, Jimit already has a lead of 1 tower. And now thanks to this poison, he just brought down another tower. And with 2 crowns, he wins the first game over Arpan. So this is quite strange. Like I've seen deck archetypes of this caliber play against each other, but never in this weird tradition. Like towers are going down from full to 0 HP in such strange fashion that it's just thrown me off. I hope game 2 is a little more familiar to what I'm used to, but I think I can take a few new tricks. I'm not an old dog yet. So looks like we are jumping into game 2. Jimit has decided to stick with the same deck while Arpan has switched to a crossbow deck. Okay, so that's interesting. Usually when you lose to a deck that has a minion horde or a dark prince or a poison in it, you don't usually go for more building based decks because they really melt down super quickly when faced against a poison and a miner. Crossbow does target the goblin hut, but thanks to the huge HP pool of the goblin hut, it has taken quite a while for it to start beating down on it. Now Arpan is in some serious trouble right now. He has to expend that fireball completely to take care of the minion horde. I have to say though, that is a positive elixir trade for Arpan, but he did lose his crossbow and didn't manage to do much damage to Jimit's tower. Again, another goblin hut coming out from Jimit right there. This game has become a game of slow, small pushes and poisons. We don't see either player making any clutch moves. I mean, what clutch move can you do if your main building damage card is a crossbow, right? You just have to place it at the right time. Try to avoid whatever distracting units Jimit has placed before it. And eventually just hope that your crossbow targets your enemy's tower. So just long enough to bring it down. Again, Mega Minion over here on the left tanking the tower for quite a bit, giving Arpan's archer so much time. Okay, what is happening here? Jimit is just bleeding elixir. Has he disconnected? Is he lagging? Well, unfortunately for him, there are no redos in the ESL India Premiership, especially for Clash Royale. So yeah, so I guess Arpan has realized that Jimit has lagged out and just wants to finish this so that they can get to the next matchup. Yeah. Expends a fireball right there for to no immediate effect, but it does bring the tower down quickly, and we can move on to the next game where we might actually see some proper action. So this is quite unfortunate for Jimit right there, losing game 2 like in such a horrible fashion. But we'll see if game 3 turns it around for Jimit. So the score right now is at 1 each. Both the Masters players are on even footing. But I guess Jimit must be feeling very, very disappointed for losing his lead in such a way. Like, can't really do anything about it. Excuse me, folks. I just had to mute myself there for a sneeze. So game 3, Arpan has switched to a balloon-based deck with a P.E.K.K.A kicker in it. What is he planning to do though? Like, Jimit has basically read Arpan's mind and has included an Inferno Dragon in his deck. Which is quite dangerous for Arpan because both his huge units, which is a balloon and a P.E.K.K.A, go down super easy, super quickly to an Inferno Dragon. And this has put Arpan in quite a daze right now. He has to take some time, think about how he has to outwit Jimit and basically outplay and play around Jimit's Inferno Dragon. He has to bait the dragon out somehow. Like, He has to do something to bait it out. And again, I think Jimit's lagging one more time. This is a sad state of affairs, folks. Like, Jimit is going to lose this game if he lags out again. Even though he has the type advantage, he has the deck advantage. This is just sad. I really don't know what Jimit is going to do if he's just going to keep lagging out. Well, if Jimit does have such a great deck advantage that even if he lags out, he should be able to 3-crown this pretty easily. But maybe not. We'll just have to wait and see. 1076 HP left on his tower, on his last tower. But yeah, like I said, 3-crown right there. Maybe Arpan was being a good sport and did not defend Jimit's push. Maybe he wanted to give Jimit the same advantage that he has gotten, bringing the score to 2-1. And this actually might look like it might be a 5-game match. So let's... before we jump into game 4 though, because this might actually be the last game. If Jimit wins this one, the score is going to be 3-1 and we're going to award this victory to him. My product head just looked at me and just said something that I could not decipher, so I'm just gonna take care of this long pause and thank our sponsors. Omen by HP, our title sponsor, giving us all the resources and the help we need to bring these wonderful esports to you every day. We also have HyperX, Red Bull, Intel, and of course us good folks at Nordwind Gaming and ESL India, bringing all of this wonderful esports action to you. Having said that, let's jump into game 4. And Jimit has decided to stick with the deck that gave him the 3-crown victory over Arpan, even though we all know Arpan just took it easy for now. And Arpan, however, has decided to switch gears. He's included a Royal Ghost, a Flying Machine. Those are some really good replacements for the balloon. Like, he had a lot of trouble trying to push with the balloon because Jimit had his Inferno Dragon ready, like trigger finger, and it just destroys big units very quickly. Arpan has prepared for the Inferno Dragon very well. He has the Zap and the Evis, but he decides to use neither. Okay. So I'm trying to figure out what Arpan is planning to do. I'm sure the Royal Ghost will not reach the tower thanks to the ram being put down. That splash damage from the Royal Ghost, man. It just brought down both the barbarians popping out of the ram. And their sad story is they're never going to reach Arpan's tower either. So this is like a game of back and forth. Like, nothing is really reaching the end goal that it was meant to reach. And look at that lucky placement of the Flying Machine right there, just out of range of Jimit's tower. That's what making all the difference. Like, it completely stopped the Bandit, the Dark Prince, and the Ice Golem that Jimit just hoped that would reach the tower. Like, I see the same thing happening over and over again. Units running out of range, units staying out of range. The Royal Ghost will be able to take one hit off onto the tower. And Arpan again bled a couple of elixir before he decided to put the P.E.K.K.A down. We are in the last minute of double elixir. And fortunately for Arpan right there, he has those Royal Guards to distract Jimit's huge push, but not before his tower takes a beating. I'm guessing it's going to go down to 500 HP thanks to that. Oh, wow. A very well-timed zap right there stops the ram and avoids the damage that it was about to do. It probably would have brought the tower down if it actually made contact. But 364 HP left. That's not in. That's too high for a poison to bring it down. And Arpan takes advantage of this and just puts down an aggressive P.E.K.K.A. That's something you don't often see. We can ignore this ram making contact with Arpan's tower and bringing it down because the real action is happening on Jimit's side of the board. Look at that. Two Evis just spamming their zaps onto the Inferno Dragon, not giving it any time to build up any damage. And this would have actually been a 3-crown victory if the P.E.K.K.A was actually successfully distracted by the Ice Golem. But yeah, Arpan actually takes game number 4, and I'm actually eager to see what happens in game number 5. So just let's just jump right to it. Okay, so I think Angie has the same revelation that I have. We see a golem, and then we see a Sparky, and we all know what happened the last time these two units met on the battlefield. Fireball to take care of the flying machine that Arpan has put out. So both players are pretty much the same elixir-wise. Neither player has much of an advantage, except the fireball damage that Jimit has managed to bring onto Arpan's tower. So we're going to see a lot of units being spammed back and forth until finally Arpan reveals that he has a golem in his deck. So that Sparky is about to drop some hella damage. Wait, whose zap was that? I think that was Jimit right there trying to preemptively zap a minion horde or a bats that Arpan was about to put down, or maybe even a skeleton army. Who knows, right? If you're using the magic archer, if you're using the hunter, why not use the skeleton army as well? I know why, because it's a very horrible card for now. Again, we see a lot of skirmishes going on in the center of the battlefield. Neither player actually reaching the other player's towers. Of course, Arpan was able to push one of his princes into Jimit's tower, and he was able to get the first joust damage off. But that doesn't really do anything, right? If the tower's alive, the tower's alive. So we are entering the last minute, which is going to be double elixir. I guess we are going to see the first golem come out of Arpan right now. Arpan knows Jimit has a Sparky, and now that he's seen the Sparky, he just has to defend against the Sparky and put down his first golem. So we're going to see some huge pushes coming out from behind the golem. Ice Spirit right there used to distract the Sparky's first attack, and we see another Sparky come down. Oh, the zap was just a little bit too late, and the Sparky was able to get his damage off onto the Prince. And yeah, the golem without protection from the Sparky is just nothing. It just couldn't even reach the tower, right? But 2 more hits from the Sparky and just got brought down. And the Sparky himself dies to itself. It's a machine, right? We should call it it. The Sparky itself dying to the flying machine. Ice Spirit freezes the Prince in space, making it a prime target for the Sparky's slow but powerful attack. Arpan has his finger on the zap ready. Maybe he could have waited just a second longer to get the Spear Goblins into the zap's damage as well, but better safe than sorry. Aggressive golem right there on the left, being met by a defensive Sparky. It's really strange to have the Sparky being used in this fashion. I know we've seen this before, especially like on stream itself, and I was casting the match, but it's still strange. Unfortunately for Jimit, the Sparky just couldn't kill the golem in time. That's a first, bringing this tower down to 433 HP. Oof. Arpan doesn't have a zap ready. He has to sacrifice the Ice Spirit to distract the Sparky. And yeah, half a second longer and the tower would have taken a huge blow from the Sparky again. I'm literally sitting on the edge of my seat as I realize Arpan doesn't have a fireball. Arpan has a poison, but will he have enough time to rotate it into again? He has to defend the Sparky. He opts to use the poison in self-defense mode, and Jimit just getting frustrated that he is not able to reach Arpan's towers. Again, Jimit sacrifices a fireball because there is just no other way to defend against Arpan's onslaught. Like one more hit from the flying machine or one more well-placed poison, and that is Jimit's end of story. And yeah, there you go. Well, it's been a long back and forth, possibly repetitive gameplay coming out from both of the players, but finally we have a clear winner, which is Arpan. And I honestly have not much to say about what has happened, the decks that they chose, because I sort of prefer the clutch plays, the balloons, the lava hounds, and maybe even a Three Musketeer deck. But since Three Musketeers have been banned, we are stuck with these decks. And I actually want to listen to what Angie has to say about this. So we're going to go back to the studio in just a bit. So guys, stay tuned.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the ESL India Premiership 2018 Summer Seasons is Master League, brought to you by Omen by HP, HyperX and Intel, and presented to you by ESL and Northern Gaming. Now, we just witnessed an action-packed Clash Royale game between Arpan and Jimit. But drawn out to all the 5 games, Angie. Drawn out to all the 5 games.
Okay, so I'm only going to basically talk about the first, the third, and the 5th game. Because in the second game, we had Jimit who lagged out. So I don't really think that game could be even counted. But talking about the first game, we did see that we had Arpan who decided to go with the P.E.K.K.A, which is a little expected from him. And Jimit finally has shown me what he really likes to play. It is the Goblins. And he's part of the Goblin Gang army of
the Goblin Party.
India Premiership. Yes, he loves to play the Goblins. So the P.E.K.K.A literally got countered completely in game 1 by Jimit, because the only thing that counters a P.E.K.K.A is cards that have low elixir and who are in a bunch out. So the Goblin Gang, the Goblin Hut, Spear Goblins, he had all of them to counter the P.E.K.K.A, and that's why I think he even went ahead and banned out the Giant, because he knew that if he gave Arpan the Giant, it would get a little more difficult for him to counter it, because at least the P.E.K.K.A turns around and starts hitting other cards, but the Giant just walks away and just goes and starts hitting your tower. So the first game, Jimit played beautifully well. I mean, this is the first time I think I've seen Arpan put in the tight spot where he has to actually calculate every single move that he's making. In the second game, okay, we never talk about second game. It was a DC game. In the third game, we saw Arpan go into a little more diverse kind of form. He went into his balloon, and that is another card that I really like about the way Arpan plays it. But the thing was that by then Jimit hadn't really figured out that Arpan is going to play a flying deck. So he had taken all ground defense, whether it be the battle ram, whether it be the bandit, whether it be the prince. So the golem got that, the balloon got that opening to reach his star. But I like the way Jimit really didn't give much heed to the balloon, and he went ahead and pushed his own. And that kind of needs a lot of experience to do, because you're not going to be able to defend, but you know that if you go aggressive, you'll be able to take it down faster. And that's what Jimit worked out. And also, I like the way Arpan has gone back to playing his Expo. In game 1, in the first game of the ESL India Premiership, Arpan decided to play the Expo, and that worked in his favor. And when he tried to do it in the second game, he would have actually taken that game to, he would have actually won that game even if Jimit wouldn't have DC'd, because we kind of figured out by the mid game that the Expo always counters any tarred unit. So the Goblin Hut would fall down, and that means Jimit wouldn't get the option of continuously having this chip damage hitting Arpan's star. And if you look at the 5th game, this is again where I call this Mukul strategy, because Mukul was the first one to play this in the ESL India Premiership, a Sparky as a defensive unit, then being an offensive unit. And I feel Jimit's only mistake in the 5th game was that he didn't really get the time to use his Giant and go ahead, because he was constantly defending against this big golem that was coming towards him. And Arpan kind of understood that as long as he keeps the aggression going, he's not going to give Jimit the time to kind of play his cards. And if he has to keep defending, he's going to take the ball in his court. So keeping all that in mind, I would say that Jimit put up one of the best performances as of now I've seen against Arpan. But Arpan being Arpan, and of course a 2-time champion of the ESL India Premiership, was outsmarting it at all points. Yeah. I would love to see these people even play at the grand finale, to be more precise.
Still dabbing.
You're still dabbing because you know how cool he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that sums up today's Clash Royale game. We'll be